great day. Come, join and learn something new in our discussion. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Mikala Roble Masnero from BSS Filipino 11M1. Let me share something. Now, let's proceed to our topic. The Filipino is worth dying for by Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. So for you, do you think the Filipino is worth dying for? Before that, in this topic, we will tackle about who is Ninoy Aquino. So next, who is Ninoy Aquino? Benigno Simeon Aquino Jr., we known as Ninoy. He was born in province of Tarlac on November 27, 1932. He came from prosperous family of hacienderos. And then, he is the son of a well-known politician and a landowner. His mother is Aurora Lampa Aquino and his father is Benigno Aquino Sr. Ninoy Aquino have siblings. Their name is Paul Aquino, Lupita Aquino, Boots Aquino, and many more. Then let's proceed to Ninoy Aquino's journey. Ninoy Aquino started his career as journalist, and after that he was elected as mayor of Concepcion, Tarlac after his marriage. Ninoy started his career as journalist, and then after that he entered the politics life and being mayor. After he married to Corazon Aquino, he became a mayor in Concepcion, Tarlac in 1955. After 4 years of being a mayor, he entered the life of being a vice governor in 1959. After 2 years, he became a governor of Tarlac in 1961. And he entered being a Philippine senator in 1967, and he became a national leader of Liberal Party in 1968. Meanwhile, he had become a wealthy through his marriage in 1955 to the daughter of one of the largest landowners and manufacturers in the Philippines. What is this important in Philippine history? Ninoy Aquino is the one who was against by Ferdinand Marcos' journey as president. He is the political leader who led the opposition against Ferdinand Marcos. He against the martial law because he thinks that it was not good for the people of the Philippines. He valued the human rights. Why was Ninoy imprisoned, tortured, and eventually killed? It is because he is the one who against the Ferdinand Marcos term. And then, Ninoy Anjokno was the first one who was abducted or arrested and being imprisoned in Fort Bonifacio on trumped up charges of murder, illegal possession of firearms. What was his position before he was in prison? Ninoy Aquino is a senator before he go to jail. He say that the 1967 election was fueled by guns, goons, and gold. It described about the violence and vote buying. What was his relationship with President Ferdinand Marcos? Ninoy Aquino is a longtime political opponent of President Ferdinand Marcos. He started speaking that he was against Marcos' authoritarian rule. Also, when President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. Are there any similarities between martial law as it was then and today's times? What are they? Based on my research, yes, they have. During the Ferdinand Marcos journey, there's a certain things happen. The Plaza Bomb, when many people died. And then during Rodrigo Duterte journey, there's a Marawi incident. Do you think the Filipino is worth dying for? For me, somehow yes. Because we can come this far and we cannot feel the freedom that we experience right now if it's not because of those heroes that they gave up their own lives for the sake of many Filipinos. Now, why did he ask this question? Because those 8 years that he spent in the military confinement, he experienced a lot of things. One of those are of humiliation, of encourage, of hunger and endless anxiety. He know how to be a bitter because of those suffering. What is it the Filipino people under martial law that prompts him to ask these questions? During the martial law, they have what they call martial rule, which is one of those problems he talked about. That during that time, many people have no right to speak their opinion and being injustices. What does this tell us about how he felt about his experience and how the Filipino people were under martial law? He felt unending anxiety because of those feelings. He asked himself those questions that comes to his mind. Also, during that time, the Filipino people felt injustices and there's no human rights. How did the speech use pathos to persuade the audience that the Filipinos is worth dying for? The speech used in pathos to trigger the emotion of the audience. I have faced death a couple of times in prison. I could have died from the heart attacks while I was languishing in your jail. How did the speech use logos to persuade the audience that the Filipino was worth dying for? The speech used in logos to give the audience the message and the facts. If you will not heed of conscience and moderation, you were a soldier once, and you have repeatedly said many times, it's an honor to die for one's country and for one's freedom. Next, did the speech use ethos to persuade the audience that the Filipino was worth dying for? The speech used ethos to show the good side of the speaker and its credibility. Like the average Filipino, please do not mistake my patience of docility. Then, paragraph 6, Aquino describes the Filipino and says, he loves freedom but puts the highest premium on human life and human dignity. Do you agree with Ninoy, given today's situation? Given this situation, I think I will not agree with what Mr. Ninoy says. A lot has changed. Everything has changed from what it is before. Do you think that Filipinos are still largely passive when it comes to perceived violence done by the states? Not anymore. It is because, especially now that social media platform is widely used, people are now open to ask for help if anything bad happening to them. And then, what is it about Ninoy's speech that inspired people? Do you feel inspired as well? For me, his love for the country, by sacrificing himself to achieve this freedom that we felt right now. Yes, somehow I feel inspired, considering how devoted he is for the country and for the Filipino people. What made the speech more persuasive? The use of ethos, pathos, or logos? The speech is more persuasive with the use of ethos and logos, because in the ethos, he shows the good side of the speaker and its credibility. And in the pathos, he used those lines in the speech which can be used to trigger the emotion of the audience. Paragraphs 12, 13, and 14. Aquino repeats the word death and dying several times. What effect does it have on the audience? Why do you think these were used? I think he just is stating the fact that can help to persuade the audience, for them to understand what is point. How would you describe the last paragraph? Why do you think the speech ended that way? He is strongly showing that he is taking the lead to gain the freedom of the country. And I think he's trying to persuade the reader or the audience to be a Filipino who's fighting for their rights and freedom. To stand on your own and fight for your rights. Do you agree with Ninoy that the Filipino is worth dying for? Before, I will say yes. But right now, not anymore. Because we should value ourselves more. Because now, people are being selfish. They rather save themselves than helping those who needs help. And that's the end of our discussion. Thank you for being with me during our discussion. God bless. And I hope you have learned something from what we have tackled. Again, I am Mikala Robleno Mastaro from BS Ed Filipino 11M1. God bless.